welcome to the Zodiac Lounge. Can you all hear me? Because we've had some technical bullshit. Okay, cool. We're starting tonight. This is Candle Magic. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. A couple of reminders. Please, you keep your mics muted while we're actually. Let me change my view here. I'm still getting the hang of Zoom, which I'm actually pretty cool with. And and there we go. So, use chat for questions, or you can use the raise hand function. I'm working on a desktop. On the bottom of my screen, it says reactions. Click on that, and raise your hand jumps up. Um, and we're going to kill a little time, see if any more people want to struggle in a little later. I usually give them 5 minutes or so. And in the meantime, I can take any questions, or if anybody wants to come on and make any announcements. I have no announcements to make, except that I have been working like a demon getting Astro West Underground put together. Fixtures are in, things are moving very quickly. It is going to totally rock. The energy is so good. And I'm really happy. I can't wait to get this off the ground. What else do I have to say? The world out there, I'm not paying attention. Everybody's insane. They're all contradicting themselves. People are doing stupid shit. And we are in the Zodiac Lounge where there is no stupid shit. So I just found out that I pinned myself. God, it sounds so much like high school. Uh, there we go. Okay, somebody named iPhone is coming in. I know who that is. So now I'm seeing faces. Awesome. I love seeing faces. So don't be shy. Turn on the smoke machine, shade that lid, and then bid adieu to your ennui. And we are all here hanging out together. This is great. So I'm very excited about this. Our topic tonight is candle magic, and it's something that's very dear to me because I've been playing with it for decades, since like
That's what I saw
1971.
last.
And we got to mute. I have to figure out who I'm muting. Okay, I don't know you know what? I don't care anymore. The timeline for Astro West, I would say we're going to be up and running unofficially probably in about 2 weeks, but I want to have a grand opening and a press event for Maybon, which is September 21st, because that is another holiday. It's the second harvest. The first harvest was yesterday, for any of you who missed it. That's called Lammas. And in Celtic countries, and also in any place that has temperate climates, where there are definitely four seasons and everybody's getting ready to batten down the hatches. In August, you began harvesting your crops. So the first harvest was called Lammas or Lunasa. It's August 1st. It's very solar. Well, everything is very solar and full of fire. Angela will attest to that if she dares come on screen tonight. And it's interesting because this is when they gathered flowers, herbs, grasses, things like that. Keisha did a Lammas moon ritual last night. I see that in chat. That's great. I filled the house with sunflowers and marigolds and sunflower seeds, and I made bread, which was a pain in the ass, but it was good because it was like a 2-day recipe where I had to start the starter and then let it fester or whatever it does in that bowl when it gets all bubbly and kind of weird looking, but it was delicious. And a lot of different grains, but it's pretty much celebrating that. The next harvest, which is Mabon, is on September 21st. And that harvest is about nuts, gourds, things like that, everything autumnal. So think pumpkins. And the world still celebrates it as Thanksgiving. So we're still observing these ancient festivals, except that we're putting it into modern context because we don't want to piss off any of the religious leaders by saying that we're doing something pagan. God forbid we should do something that wasn't in the Judeo-Christian Islamic context, because people would have a fit. And we've seen them have fits. I saw some politician go totally off and make an idiot of himself. I loved it, but I don't remember who it was. All I know is that it was better than a beer and a shot. So that's good. That was good for me. At least being Catholic, we had the saints. Yes, we did, but the saints are like the Loa in Voodoo or the Orisha in Santeria. So they were bigger than men, smaller than gods, and they're often honored. Also, local heroes, either living or passed before. Anybody who really impacted the community positively is always remembered. The third and final harvest is called Samhain. It's spelled Samhain, and in Gaelic, Sam sounds like sow, like cow, and that is a very reverent feast. It is the harvest of souls. And what's interesting is that the growing year in these agrarian societies was very busy. You and your entire family were planting in the fall around Sound when you plant your bulb. Well, you plant your bulbs next month around Maybon so that they winter hardy. But, come spring, everything's coming up. You have to weed it, you have to tend to it, you have to really work your butt off. And then it starts getting big, so you have to stake the crops that are looking like they're going to produce for you, and you have to eliminate things that are growing kind of puny and maybe grow them again next year. And you just have to really keep after it. Work your entire family. The entire families used to work in the fields if you were raising grain, or if you were raising livestock. You had goats, sheep, probably like um, velociraptors. I don't know. People would be raising all kinds of livestock and tending to them. And finally, it's harvest time. So the harvest of souls, which is at the end of October, we call it Halloween. And it's really interesting because that's when, see, every harvest, everything that you took from your fields, in August, you would take all of your herbs, flowers, medicinal plants, and things like that, put aside what you needed for yourself and your family, and maybe a little more in case it was a longer, harsh winter. And then you would bring all the rest into the center of town, and everybody else in town would do the same. So if your neighbor grew barley and you raised pigs, you would take some barley, he would take a pig. And this is how everybody shared to make sure that the community survived through the dark period of winter, which most things died, including people if they didn't keep their fire going in the house. Um, Second harvest, everybody brought their pumpkins, their squash, their nuts, everything like that into the center of town. Final harvest was the harvest of souls, where you set your breeding stock aside if you raised livestock. You set the healthiest, strongest, most prolific animals aside so that they can make babies in the spring. And then you ritually slaughtered the herd so that you had meat. You put it in smokehouses, you cured it. Um, and the ritual slaughter was actually not as terrible as it sounds. The word slaughter makes my skin crawl, but when you think of how they did it, they gave them a very quick end, usually by cutting the jugular, but they made sure that all of the blood of the animal spilled into the earth so that the life force of the animal was given back to the earth that created it. And there were prayers said over these things, and we thanked all the deities for giving us food that would sustain us through the winter. And then, as usual, we kept what we needed for ourselves and our family and brought the rest into town. But then it got better because then there was a big bonfire, which I know excites Angela Petrosino. Even though she's not on camera, she's probably like rubbing her hands together in glee, thinking about the fire. Um, because you did a big bonfire and everybody feasted and drank and screwed and did all kinds of things that you do in every festival. There were 8 a year. But then as the fire was dying out, you had anybody that you missed, anybody that passed away during the year, you visualized their spirit being in a little terracotta jar. In Haiti, it's called a govi. They still practice this even in another country. That has nothing to do with Celtic, England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. And then on that night, you broke the goby over the fire, and you threw frankincense in the fire as well, because frankincense carries your intention or the spirit of your loved one immediately to the Godhead. And you freed those souls. That's why the next day in the Catholic Church is All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. So it's still observed. And then when the fire went out, you drove your livestock that you were keeping to breed for you in the spring through the ashes of the fire to bless them, with all of the goodwill. And then you batten down the hatches. And then in the winter months is when you taught your children. That's when they had homeschooling because they were too busy during the growing season. So there was always a fire in the house. There was a hearth fire that you had to keep going or you froze to death. We didn't have Con Ed and we didn't have people that we can call to turn our furnace back on. But candles were often used too because the days got shorter and darker. So using the element of fire for many things goes back thousands and thousands of years, probably back to the first science fair in Neanderthal times, where fire came in second to the wheel. Um, and it has been used as reverence. It's used in temples. It's kept in temples. So that if your home fire went out, you can go to the temple and get a light on a lantern and bring it home and relight your hearth again. Because the gods did provide, and they provided their through their priests and priestesses. So, long before we had these magnificent churches and cathedrals, um, mankind used candles and lamps and the element of fire for prayer. Think about it. They were burning in every temple. You even see them today in a lot of churches. A lot of churches will have side altars or little areas with a jillion little votive lights for you to say a prayer, light a candle, and then the candle does its thing. But nobody really knows how it got its origin. So in ancient times, if you went to a temple for healing, um, you made an appointment. If you grew barley, you brought a sack of grain with you. If you raised livestock, you brought a goat or a sheep or something just to support the temple personnel. And then you consulted with a priest or a priestess, and they would do a ritual and they would involve you in the ritual. And it's very important that you involve yourself in ritual, and I'll tell you why later. Um, so you involved yourself in this ritual. They gave you a little oil lamp in Greece or in other countries where bees were raised and beeswax was plentiful. They gave you a candle. And they said, light this lamp every night at sundown for one turn of the moon, and your prayer will be answered. Um, why sundown? Well, twilight is a very magical time of day. It's not day, it's not night, it's not light, it's not dark. It's pretty much a very malleable time. And if you ever meditated, I mean, I go down by the water. I try to get down by the water at sundown almost every day just to watch the sunset because I'm on the east side of the Hudson and I face west, and the sky are these glorious orange and purple tones. And everything becomes magical. And then the stars start peeking out, and the sky gets that impossible shade of blue that you only see for about a half an hour every night. And that's the time for your dreams invention. And what I mean by that, it is the most malleable time. It's nothing. It's sort of limbo where anything can happen. Anything can be very flexible, where the borders are soft. And that's the best time to pray or to meditate or to create a spell if that's what you want to do. And the reason is, and that is the reason rather, why the ancient priests and priestesses would say, light this light every night for 28 days, for one turn of the moon, which is 28 days. Is it moon magic? No. Why did we have to do it for one lunar revolution? Because what we're finding out now, thanks to the advances of quantum science, is that it's really about intention. So when you create your candle, as I'm going to teach you how to do tonight, is it really a magic candle? Does it have powers? It's actually just a hunk of wax, but it's the intention that you put into it that matters. The focus you give when you're meditating, and I'll go through all these little steps, although not in too much detail because I want you to attend my real candle magic class when I do it in September, where all the details and all the inside skinny and the shortcuts and the crazy stuff comes out. So um, you are taking an object. It is a candle. It's just that. It's paraffin or wax or soy or whatever. I prefer using beeswax or soy candles because they're biodegradable, unlike paraffin. And when you're finished with them, you have to either bury them or throw them in moving water. And I'd rather be kinder to the earth. Um, than just polluted with things that are not biodegradable. But one turn of the moon has to do with the lunar revolution and the way the moon affects the tides. And women, you know this better than men do. It does affect body functions on a regular basis or semi-regular, but it also affects your endocrine system. And what happens is, as that month goes by that you're lighting this candle for your intention, you're sort of reminding yourself, blueprinting it in every aspect of the way your physiology works so that it's imprinted. It's sort of like an indelible reminder so that no matter where your hormones, where your enzymes are, where anything is, you're still going to be focused on that. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself, and I don't want to do that. The candle that you create, yes, it's a hunk of wax, but it's also an iconic representation of an archetypal energy. So many people dedicate their candles to a god or a goddess or a purpose or an element. Purpose is the most part, but your purposes fall into a few different, they can be, they're actually they're subtopics of four greater topics. Actually, three. Most people burn candles for intention for three reasons. Main three reasons are love, money, and protection. And then after that, um, you can get a little bit more detailed and really start parsing things and put a lot of nuances into it, which we're going to learn how to do tonight too. Um, so it's an iconic representation of an archetype, which means that you're actually, if any of you attended last week's session, we talked about the bicameral mind and liturgical versus ecstatic relationships with religion, where you're either sitting there being lectured in a liturgical faith by a priest, minister, rabbi, or mullah, or you're one-on-one and you're completely excited, just like they used to be in ancient times, and you never knew what the hell was going to come down the pike if your local emperor woke up with a cramp in his ass and decided to kill everybody like you. So it's about putting all of that energy, all of that focus into the object that you're creating. So in the end, it's intention. It is your intention that gets contained and captured into this hunk of candle or candle wax or oil lamp. You can use either. But the main thing is that you do it every day for 28 days in a row. So you're blueprinting it into your spiritual DNA. And that's what's going to help it manifest because it's going to take from 7 to 28 days to manifest after you prepare and light your candle. But I'm going to say this. The minute you decide that you want to use a candle as a ritual object, that's when your prayer and your intention begins. And we're going to learn how to prepare them tonight. So there's a lot of shopping you have to do ahead of time. You can make them as fancy or plain as you like. Um, there should be something carved onto it. It doesn't have to be a huge carving. It doesn't have to be anything terribly artistic. You don't have to write a longhand saga from top to bottom. It's interesting. I've been teaching this class for so many years, and around I think early 80s, I was teaching it in La Jolla, California, and I had a great class. There were about 35 people in it, and everybody had a different way of going about it. And one person uh, impressed me particularly. It was a young guy, like maybe 25, 30 years old. His fiance had just dumped him. He was heartbroken. Um, he didn't know what he was going to do. And the first thing you do, um, somebody's being admitted a million times today, and that's fine. Um, okay, so there were some people that were doing the most amazing artwork on their candles. I mean, they could have been carving like Michelangelo's Pietà or something. And there were other people that were doing rune scripts, and other people made sigils, which is another class that you guys are going to love. And so what you carve on it has to symbolize what your intention is. Um, and this guy had a broken heart, and he really didn't. I have to mute somebody who's here twice. Okay, cool. Um, And he had no creative ability. I think he was an auto mechanic or rebuilt engine. I mean, he was a really sweet guy. I don't know why this woman dumped him. He was one of the nicest people and hot as hell to look at. But he did something very simple that was so powerful. He drew a heart with a band-aid on it because he needed love healing. And I thought, that is so powerful. That is like so on the money because all of his intention, all of his thought, what do I need to do? My heart is broken. I need to mend it. So instead of doing some fancy dancy drawing or replicating a tarot card or something like that, or getting crazy artistic or, a million words or some ancient language, he just did something so simple that anybody could look at it. They didn't even need to speak English. You look at that heart with the band-aid, you know exactly what the intention was. So it can be that simple. Or you can, get an Aramaic to English translation and put some curses or prayers or something on it in another language. I don't give a damn what you do. But the more effort you put into it, the more it is. Just don't get carried away because then it gets very complicated. And we want our intention to be simple and to the point. Otherwise, it gets convoluted and you get very weak results. So, uh, in the long candle magic class, you're going to learn about the colors of candles and their significance to your intention. In this class, we're just going to be talking about plain white candles, and there's a reason for that. Any kind of transformational work like this, you're using the energy of light. Now, the presence of all light, the presence of all colored light will shine as white light. If you've ever been on stage or if you've ever been close enough to the stage in a theater, seeing a live performance, you're going to notice that all the footlights are red, yellow, and blue, the primary colors. And when they mix together, they make bright white light. So when you're working with light, the presence of all colors is white. So a white candle is universal. It can take on any meaning that you want. And it's always good to keep a few extra white candles in the pantry because you never know when you want to carve one up and do something. I am not teaching a class in ethics. I am teaching you a method. Whatever you do with your candle is your own damn business. And don't tell me unless you need like an alibi. Um, and then I will lie to the judge, bury the body, and then beat your ass for being stupid enough to get caught. But um, so that's how this works. Always keep at least one white candle. What kind of candle? I've used everything from big 7-day pullouts that last 7 days after you burn them to birthday candles that I carved, that I scratched on with a straight pin and a magnifying glass. I'm not going to tell you what I did to the person's party and that everybody see my cat's butt when he just walked across the screen. Great. Way to go, Rudy. You'll get yours later. So you can do it on anything. I like pillar candles. Votives are great. Tea lights last for 5 hours. So in the method that I'm teaching, you don't have to do it every day for 28 days unless you really want to do it. I love Rudy too. I'm reading chat. That's why it looks like I'm distracted. I'm just keeping my eyes down. Tea lights, you burn them until they go out. Tea lights last for 5 hours. Votives, you can get anything from like 8 hour to 15 hour to 24 hour. Pillar candles will last all day. I mean, there's so many different kinds of candles and they all last so many times and it's up to you. I once did candle work that lasted more than a week. I got one color candle for every planet that I was working with, and each of them lasted 7 days. And I kept a gray candle, which is great for holding because gray is good about neutralizing or freezing something. So the gray candle, and I had two of them because I didn't know how long it was going to take. The gray candle flame was always lit, and I would light every subsequent candle from the same flame so that I lit one match that went on. And it was about starting up a business, and the business took off. It was like unbelievable. It was the coolest thing. So white candles are great. They're the presence of everything, and somebody needs to turn their mic off. I'm going to start doing it for them because I'm over it. And there, no more echo. Excellent. Um, so you can so now that you know what you're doing and what kind of candle, what do you do with it? Um, First of all, you decide what your objective is. What do you want to accomplish? You might want to bring in or enhance a relationship that got a little stale. As I said, the three top requests that I used to get when I had my store, and even now, is for love, money, love, prosperity, and protection. But unlike a lot of other people who do what I do, I didn't make it for them. Nobody can come in and say, make me a candle that's going to do this. And I'd say, sure, come and pick it up in a couple of days. It doesn't work. You have to put your own effort into it. This is going to change your life. And muting, I just really hate muting, but you got to do it. And I see Scott was laughing at me. So what I did is I had them make an appointment with me. They booked an hour time, and I would do a divination for them. They would tell me what they wanted to do, and we would do a divination to see the best way to go about it without hurting anybody. And if they wanted to hurt somebody, that's on them, not me. But I would help them find out the most effective details to focus on their work with. And then I would give them the candle, and I had a little bronze stylus from the second century BC. I loved it. And I would make them carve on it. We would pack herbs into the carvings or glitter. Some people like some showy stuff. And then we would anoint it with an oil mixture. So we either did it together there or they wrote the instructions down and brought it home and did it. I recommended that they all do it at sundown. Do it about a half hour before official sundown. So it gives you time to work up all of your energy and prepare and empower it and then dedicate it and light it because there's many steps to this. And then they knew how to do candle magic. So they didn't have to depend on me. It's the old saying, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach him how to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. And I like empowering people. I don't want to be the person that you have to come begging for work. And then I'd say, well, I'm booked for 2 weeks. No, not cool. I'd much rather share the information, share the knowledge, and have people developing confidence in their ability to be adept in this kind of work. So that's how it worked best for me. But it always did start with a divination. And then it went on from there. So once you decide what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, then there are certain days that are better for some things than others. So if everybody has a notebook nearby or grab a piece of paper, I'll give you a minute or so to do that. I'll go through the days of the week and let you know what they are best for. So I see Keisha's ready. Keisha has her notebook. She has her Zodiac Lounge notebook. I bet you there's liquor stains on it. So we're going to start on Sunday and work through. Sunday, obviously, is ruled by the sun. Oh, Keisha said wine. Okay, well, someday you'll be doing shots and beers like Uncle Trouble, and you have bourbon on everything. And you're from New Orleans anyway, so yeah, it'll be an easy transition for you. It's so nice to see your face. Sunday is ruled by the sun. So it's usually used, for general thanks. If you want to thank the universe or if you did some work and it came through and you want to say thanks to the energies out there that helped it manifest for you, it's a great day for that. But it is ruled by the sun. So it's solar. Solar power is all about empowerment. If you're an actor and you want a lot of attention, Sunday's a perfect day to do something to publicize yourself. It's also a great day to put light on something, to bring something out of the shadows. So whether you want to bring attention to yourself or to that bitch who's trying to hang out with your husband, you would use Sunday. You would do your candle on Sunday because it sheds light, it illuminates, excuse me, it dispels darkness and shadow. Monday is ruled by the moon. And the moon and Mondays have to do with the home, motherhood, the unconscious mind, all things that are hidden. If you want something revealed to you, you can carve a candle to bring that to your attention, to actually unearth it from the shadows or pull it out, whatever you're trying to find. In my case, it's my green glasses that I paid a fortune for. I haven't been able to find them in a year, and I know they're in the house. Or to find the missing part of something, or if someone's doing something to harm you or anonymously to help you and you want to know who it is, work with the moon. It exposes all that's hidden. It works similarly to the sun, but it brings you into the shadow realms instead of removing the shadow. But it has to do with relationships between mothers and their children, or children and their mothers. If someone is trying to conceive, because it has to do with motherhood, Monday would be a great day to start that candle on. What else does it do? It's the element of water. So, water in psychology represents the unknown. If you're doing Jungian dream interpretation and you're in water, it means that you're in the unknown, but your head is above or you're beneath, and has all these little nuances. Tuesday is ruled by the planet Mars. Now, Mars has to do with protection, defense, power, linear stuff. It's a great day to do something to protect yourself, or if you feel like somebody's talking about somebody named iPhone is saying Sunday fire, that has to be Angela. Oh no, Angela's there. Okay, that's Scott. Okay. Um, so Tuesday is all about defense, protection, um, sex, anything that has to do with passion. Um, Anything that is going to keep you safe. And again, I'm not teaching a course in ethics. If you want to do it, if you want to use it against an enemy, that's your karma, not mine. My own Akash is like pretty dirty already. I'm cleaning it up. It's almost where it should be now, but I take no responsibility for what anybody does after I teach them. But Tuesdays are Mars is a warrior. So when you need to go to war, when you need to defend yourself, or when you need to rescue someone or something, or even yourself, work with martial energy. That is on Tuesday. Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. It's all about communication, the written or spoken word. It's good for actors, writers, lawyers, although lawyers are better on Thursday, and I'll tell you why in a bit, because it's the next day. Any kind of communication. It's the element of air. It's good if you have a writer's block. It's good if you are just stuck in a rut. It will give you that light bulb moment to get you out of there. I have a hand raised, but let me finish up with Wednesday. It is also good for any kind of communication, whether it's communication with the living or the dead. So if you're planning an appointment with a medium, try to do it on a Wednesday. And the hand went down now. So, okay, check it out. All right. Um, Thursday, ruled by Jupiter, it's about prosperity. It's about abundance. It's about Sunday is success, but Thursday is all about expansion. So if you're trying to gain weight, I can't imagine anybody who would want to do that, but some people do. If you're trying to make anything larger, if you're trying to expand anything, whether it's your business, your social media profile, anything, Thursday is the way to go. But it also is good for legal issues. So if you're studying for your bar exam, light that candle a couple of Thursdays before and have it give you the confidence that you need to get through it. If you have a court date coming up on the previous Thursday, light a candle with an intention on it that you win in court or lose if you're trying to lose. I mean, you never know what people need to do for tax purposes, but it's all about anything legal, anything to do with sovereignty. If you're feeling that your life is not under your control, Jupiter's this big, fabulous, benevolent God, and he sits there and he's the king. He was Jove over Jupiter, and everybody bowed and scraped to him. But he would get a little pissy when somebody would just bother him too much, and then he would give them their just desserts. So Jupiter's good for all of that. It's also good, as well as Wednesday, for a little bit of trickery if you're a trickster energy. So remember that. Friday is all about two things, love and money. So Friday is dedicated to Venus, and many of the Afro-Caribbean traditions that I've studied and been trained in, all the love gods and love goddesses, they were all celebrated on Friday. So if you're looking to enhance your relationship, if you're looking to find someone who would be a romantic partner, work on Fridays. Um, if you need to increase your money, your cash, if you need more around you, you need more wealth or prosperity. If you're falling short on money for tuition or something and you need a windfall, it's a great day to do a piece of candle work to enhance your chances of winning a lottery. Because Friday is about that. It's about lump sums. It's about literal material wealth. Thursday is about prosperity. There's a difference and expansion. So don't get those two mixed up. And then Saturday is about banishing. And that could be anything from a bad habit to your neighbor or somebody that you just want to get rid of. I don't care what you banish. If you're going to banish anybody, do it on Saturday. Saturday is ruled by Saturn. It's a very severe planet. It's a very severe energy. Um, it's not plutonic where it's going to smash something, but it is like the George Patton of the Zodiac. It's very, very disciplined, and there will be rewards and punishment determined by your lack of discipline or by your ability to commit to a disciplined action. But it's a wonderful day to banish anything. As I said, bad habits, extra weight. I've had people carve a big overweight body on a black candle and then another body inside of it that was normal shape. So they were banishing the excess pounds. And I just gave you a tip what color candle you would use on Saturday, but I'm saving all that for my official candle magic class. Um, and then you could also switch things up. Like, what if you wanted your lover or spouse to be more communicative? You have two things going on: love, relationship, and communication. So whatever you would carve for communication, you could burn on a Friday, or whatever you carve for love, you could burn on a Wednesday. So it gets a little tricky. Um, I will get into specific colors at another time. There's also specific hours, and what's interesting, they are planetary hours. And it's really a lot of work to figure them out because you're not working with hours like on the clock. There are equal hours of daylight to nighttime. So that means like now the days are longer. So your daylight hours might be an hour and 20 minutes, and your nighttime hours might be 45 minutes. So it's just a question of get your phone out, go to your weather app, look for sunrise and sunset, see what the difference is, and then break. So if sunrise starts at 6 and sets at 8, that's 14 hours. So you divide 14 by 12. And then your nighttime hours are shorter amount of time. You divide that number of hours by 12. So they have equal segments of dark and light. And then each segment is ruled by a specific planet, and every planet has its own peculiar energy. We're not going to get into the nuts and bolts about that tonight because there isn't enough time, and because, frankly, it's something that would really rather teach to a group that's just dedicated to learning this both in person and on Zoom that will just really give you everything. But this is a really good cursory glance, so you don't have to worry about planetary hours. I'm just letting you know that they do exist for two reasons. If you want to be more exact, you can Google it and try to figure it out, or you can take my class for $20 online, $40 in person, and learn it. And the difference between online and in person is that in person, after the class is over, you get to hang out for cocktails, but you also get to make, it's hands-on. The classes are lecture and then questions and answers, and then we go through the methodology of what we're doing, whatever the topic is. And then in person, you would walk out with your own carved, dressed candle ready to rock and roll with it. So if it sounds like you've gone through a lot of trouble to make this ritual object already, you're right. But remember what I said, from the minute you start thinking um, that you want to do this, that you want to use this method to manifest something in your life, that's when your intention starts building power. That's when it starts sort of rolling along and gathering momentum. So when you finally set it free after lighting it, it's going to be like, no pun intended, on fire. It's going to be like enormous boom in your face energy, and it's going to really bring it home. So it's sort of like working yourself up to a big grand finale. So this can go on for weeks. So you think about what you want to do, you pick the right candle, As I said, you can never go wrong with a white candle because every single energy is contained. It's the presence of all light. So in a pinch, it will do for any intention. And then you get a divination or do a divination for yourself if you know how to do that. If you don't, make an appointment with somebody who's legit. It only takes 15 minutes. And then you go about the rest of your work. So now you know what candle you're using, you know what your intention is. Now you have to carve it. And we talked about that a little earlier. I like using sigils. Sigils are, you can take an entire sentence. I once did something that was a paragraph long, and you strike out all the vowels and all the double consonants, and then you actually draw the letters over each other in a specific way so that if somebody sees it, they have no idea what the hell it means. It just looks like a bunch of lines. It looks like rutilated quartz or something, but you know what it is. And the reason is that there is power in silence. It's an old, old, old saying in any of these esoteric traditions, which means don't blab. Don't tell somebody what you're doing because then they might be able to tweak it. So if you're going to carve something on a candle that's going to be burning in your house with other people, they're going to want them to know what your intention is because then they can convolute the intention and the message, and then your result will either be weak or not at all. Looking at chat, the dates for the class, I will let you know when they are. They're probably going to be at the end of September, beginning of October. It's a perfect time for this because that's when the ancient people went into the house because the fields were harvested and they had time to do this stuff. And I love teaching at that time. So you've done it. Um, now what? You've carved it. You can use a rune script. If anybody knows what that is, it's a succession of runic letters. It's the Norse alphabet. It can, every letter is a concept. It's not just a word or a sound like our alphabet. It's an entire thought. You can do what's called a bind rune, which is drawing runes over each other. It's very much like the sigil that I just described, where when it's all finished, nobody knows what the hell it is. Um, you can draw a picture. You can do something in longhand. You can do whatever you want. And then if you want to get fancy about it, if you really want to put a lot of effort into this and have it really kick some butt on the astral plane, you can then push things into the carving, or you can hollow out the bottom of the candle. Just carve a bunch of wax out of it. You can shove in some crystals. You can shove in herbs that have to do, if you know anything about herbalism, which is another class, magical herbalism, that we'll be covering this year. Um, Love herbs can go in, and if it's a love candle, prosperity herbs can go in, protection herbs. You can even pack them into the carvings. You can fill the carvings with herbs. Some people like to use glitter for that because they like, flashy candles, but you would use colors that would represent the intention, the trajectory, and the outcome. And then once that's done, you have to anoint it. And this is another thing that's a little tricky because you really have to be in the right mood. Make sure nobody's going to bother you for a couple of hours while you're preparing your candle. And you would take something like jojoba or olive oil and then get a blend of essential oils. Do a little research. Go on Google or consult somebody who knows about esoteric oils. And you can make a mixture of things. You can use one single oil. One thing that's as universal and as sure a thing as a white candle with having all the properties of every element of light is frankincense. Frankincense goes straight to the heavens and comes back down real fast. So if you don't know what to blend, do it. But some people use rose oil for love. They'll use bayberry for prosperity. They'll use something like asafoetida, which smells like really funky sneakers, for banishing somebody. But you can just use plain frankincense oil, and that would be fine. Um, and when you do it, you start your candle, you start anointing it from the middle up. We'll use WD-40. Okay, you have it on your hands, you rub it on your hands. And then you start anointing it from the middle up. Don't forget to anoint the top. You turn the candle so every part of it from the center up is anointed. Turn it upside down, do the same thing so every part of that candle, including the very bottom of it, is covered. Then you place it in your candle holder. If you're using a pull-out candle, you put it back into the glass sleeve. If you're using a candle holder, use a dish or a saucer or something like that. Remember to put something under the candle holder because if you burn your furniture and try to sue me because I told you to light a candle in your own house and you can't do it without burning the fucking thing down, I am going to win in court because you do not have to sign a release when you buy a candle. But people have tried blaming the stupidest things on me when I had my store, and I'm wise to all of you now. It ain't going to happen again. So, how do you light it? What do you do? Do you just go light it? No, you just put all of this work. It could be weeks of preparation that you did to make this thing alive. So then you take your notebook out because you're going to have to keep track of something. And what you do is you quiet yourself, you breathe very, very deeply, full breaths in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Bring your rhythm way down so you hear that bass note when you were one with the earth energy. And then you visualize what you want actually happening, but see it as a ball of light in your chest around your heart chakra. That's the energy. That's the magic that's going in this candle. It is your intention. So it has to be from a pure heart, purely committed to whatever you're doing, whether you're helping somebody or like rubbing somebody out. But it's got to be really intense. Pay very close attention to the colors of the ball of light around your heart. And then you move it up to your throat and you let it sit there for a minute. That is giving voice to it, even if you don't make a sound. Pay very close attention to the colors that it changes. Write those down. Then you bring it up to your third eye because now what you're doing is you're actually straddling this plane and the astral plane, much like we straddled the unconscious mind and the conscious mind in last week's session. And take very close note of what color it is there. And then hold the candle in front of you and then will the ball of light out of your head over the candle and then into the candle. And when that ball of light is in the center of the candle, the line that you anoint it up and down from, you light that sucker. And now your intention is sealed in it and it has nothing to do but manifest for you. And it ain't over. Then you got to either download a Compass app or get your Boy Scout or Girl Scout. Do we have gendered scouts anymore? Get your Scout Compass out. I don't want to offend anybody by saying boy or girl. Get your compass out. Bring it to the east. Start in the east. And what you do is you ask the blessings of the element of air to breathe life into your intention. And then you walk clockwise to the south and you ask the cardinal point of the south, the element of fire, to give the life spark to this intention. And then you bring it to the west, continuing to walk clockwise, which is the element of water, so that it does whatever shady thing it has to do. It's all going to work without being seen because you cannot be mindful of this candle after you light it. I'm telling you. You do not want to think about it. You don't want to play with it. So keep it buried in your unconscious, but bring it to the west. It has to do with giving it home, nourishing it, keeping it hidden from people who would mess with it, and allowing all that mystery to kind of come together around that ball of light. And then after you ask for the blessing of the west, bring it to the north, where this is where you're really bringing it home because the north has to do with manifestation. So when you're going from one cardinal point to the next, I'll review them quickly. East is breathing life into it, letting it be able to communicate. Fire is giving it vitality. It's putting the life spark in it. The West is giving it mystery and allowing it to hide so it can do its work without being noticed or tweaked. And the North just brings that bitch home. Okay. So now you are bringing it home. And then you just leave it and don't look at it. Walk away from it. If you fast before you do this work, as I usually do, I like doing things like this on an empty stomach. You immediately eat, get out of the house, get away from everything familiar after you finish getting the blessings of all four cardinal points, because you want to forget it. And if you're smart, you'll do a 5 hour candle, a 5 hour tea light. Go out, go to a movie, go see a side piece, do something for 4 or 5 hours so it's burnt out, so it is not interrupted when it's burning your intention. The reason that you anoint from the center up is that the first half of the candle, as it's burning, is bringing your intention and your wish to the higher realms. And then once it passes the center, it is bringing it down to manifest in your life. And you will find that between 7 and 28 days after you do this, you're going to see either the beginnings or the full culmination of what you had hoped to occur actually happening in your life. And that, my dears, is how you burn a candle. So, any questions, any comments, any criticisms, anybody want to razz me? You can turn your mics on, you can unmute yourself, you can yell, you can scream, you can talk, you can do anything. Who has any questions on anything I said? Angela's actually raising her hand instead of using the raise hand function. Fine. So here we go. You there?
I am. I'm on my phone though. I was driving. That's why my video wasn't on.
That's okay. Did you hit anybody?
No.
Get back in the car. Wait.
Then we're talking about candle magic.
What is your question?
Do not have a question. I have a couple comments.
Okay, go ahead. Angela has done candles.
Listen, it is my favorite class, and it is a class I always went back to because after everything he teaches, I used everything back to the candle magic, whether it was sigils, herbs, even not magic. I turned into candle magic. It's a very it's a good manifesting spell work.
It's simple, it's fun, it's exciting to do, and it works.
That you get to use certain candles if you pick them, like the 7 days, you get to see the glass. Like he's going to teach that in the class. Like you see how the candle flickers and how the glass.
What happens to the glass as it's burning? Yeah.
Like you get a better idea of the situation after you see how the candle burned, or if you're doing a healing spell or a healing candle and you're using a person, how fast that burns. I had two. I did two. So me and somebody else. I burnt really quick. The other person, I even called you on that because I was like, yeah, I burned in like 2 fucking hours. The other person took like 4 days.
Yeah.
Am I gonna die?
Who was it in your group that they bought a marriage candle? They went to a botanica and bought a marriage candle, which is like a bride and a groom, but she only lit the groom because she wanted to get rid of her husband. Who the hell was that? It was fabulous, and it actually worked.
Wait.
They were getting divorced and he wouldn't leave, so she bought a black marriage candle because black is vanishing. She burnt his side on a Saturday, and he was gone in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, he was gone. I can't remember.
Not dead. I mean, he moved out. Yeah. So.
But I'd have to say he touched. There's so much more he's going to teach about candle magic, and it's an incredible.
Oh yeah. And the thing is, it's so easy to learn that the only limits you have is your imagination.
Right.
It's really a lot of fun. And one thing I did leave out, when the candle finishes burning, if it doesn't burn all the way, leave it alone. It didn't need to burn all the way. If it did burn all the way, you're going to have something left over.
And if it blows up, you're screwed.
Pardon?
If it blows up and cracks, you're screwed.
Well, no, it's just kind of, little disruptive. But you take the remains and you either bury them in the earth or cast them into moving water, not a lake, a river, a stream, an ocean, or bury them and let then the earth or the water take the remains of that so it continues to degrade and becomes part of the universe that we live in. It's the kindest way to do it. And I joke about all these dark things, because I have my friend Robbie, who's very superstitious. He goes, "Yo, bro, put a light on him for me." That's what he uses. He calls it putting a light on. He goes, "Put a light on that motherfucker." He pissing me off. So I was like, "Okay, Robbie, here you go." And I made him a little birthday candle. It's like, stick it in your man bun, and you'll know when it goes out. But it is a lot of fun. I see Sarah, who is also an alumnus of my group and my candle. Do you have anything that you want to say, Sarah? Or you can shake your head yes or no if you're feeling um
Drained.
or bashful. You look great.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I got a wonderful stylist.
Yeah, you do. So candle magic. What do you want to
Yes,
talk about?
I love candle magic. Oh my God. It's like,
I think that was
especially,
one of the first classes you took.
yes, yes. And it's also a way for being creative because, like what you said, it's like it's like you're only limiting you're the only person who can limit yourself. You can put oil,
Absolutely. Mhm.
herbs, you can even be creative, carve,
Yeah.
whatever you want, some drawings, your sigil, and
Or put nothing. If
or
you're not
or put
sure,
nothing. Put
it's really
nothing.
your intention because
Yeah.
that last step, the ball of light from your heart to your throat to your third eye and then into the candle, that is what makes it work. Thank God for quantum science because now we know that perception does equal reality. The way you see your world, it will become.
Mhm.
So, everybody here who's on camera, raise your hand. If you don't want to put your face on, you can raise your hand function. Who here wants to do a candle for something? All right, cool. So, will you explain sigils? I will explain sigils in the class on sigils, but using them and talking about them was just a tease. They're letters that are superimposed. Okay, so before you do a candle for an intention, I usually say consult with somebody to make sure that what you're planning is not going to blow up in your face. So I am willing to take anybody who wants and do a quick reading on helping you come up with the best way to manifest your intention, but you're going to have to spell it in front of everybody here. And I think this is the first time that we are not simulcasting on YouTube, although we might be. For all I know, Scott Harney is not here. Um, so I don't think we're on YouTube. So this is just between us. And what do you want? Who's up first? Okay. I see Miss Keisha is first, and then Sarah is after her, and the rest of you are chicken shit. So, Keisha, what would you like me to look into?
I think
What do you
Sarah
want to do?
was first, but I
Oh,
don't
all right,
know.
so I'll mute you. Sarah, here you go. What do you want to do a candle
So,
for?
I am looking for a house,
For
but
what?
for a house, for a home.
Really? Where aren't you in a house?
I am in a house, but I am looking to,
Okay.
you
Okay.
know what I meant.
I know.
Yeah,
So basically, you looking to
yeah, a
relocate
new
or to
home
purchase or
to
all right.
purchase a home and an area that is suitable for me and Max.
Hmm.
A nice suburban community
The
with
right kind of school system for
the right
Max.
kind of school system, kind of support for me and Max as
Hmm.
well. Quiet with nature,
And what
being
about that big hunk of man in your life? Is he not included in this?
well, yes, he is also
Okay.
included,
That
a
hunk of
house that
burning
is
love, you keep it in the
easy
shadow.
to maintain for him.
Pardon?
That is easy to maintain for him.
Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is. Say hello, Eric.
Hello, Anthony.
He must have heard me say hunk of burning love and comes running right up to the camera.
Well, someone has to pick the
Look, Shorty, we'll deal with you later.
bathtub.
Okay, let's see what we got going on. So, okay. All right. This is interesting. It's saying you're ready, but this is not the time yet. You got to hang in there. You got to hit that pause button. It's not the time because it's going to be like I have a tower card, which means that everything that you know is going to explode. My intuition is telling me that it might have to do with the housing market.
Mhm.
And it also might have to do with the economy. It might have to do with you're better off waiting, um, I think, to the first quarter of next year. Don't even start
Kind of,
looking.
it's kind of like targeted what's in my head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you kind of feel that it's coming, but then you're going to get this clue
Mhm.
and it's going to be revealed to you. And it's actually because it really has to do with the right kind of community, because a lot of things are going to be changing. I mean, look at what's going on with all this political bullshit that has to do with schools. So you need education for Max, you need support for Max.
Mhm.
Max, can I share that Max has some needs?
Autism.
Max is a
Mhm.
special needs child,
Mhm.
and Sarah's like an amazing mother. So everything has to, support Max. And it's saying that hold off because a lot of things are going to change. You're going to see things a new way. Then you're going to get that green light moment where you're going to pull the trigger because you will find the right community to embrace you. It will manifest. You'll be able to leave behind immediately. So don't be frustrated because I know how you are, Miss Instant Coffee. If anybody wanted immediate gratification, it is truly Sarah. Um, and I joke with her about that all the time. But it's saying it will manifest. You'll be able to make the transition seamlessly and quickly. No messy, no going through a million steps. Just leave it in the past, move forward into the future. And you're also going to find that your own energy is going to change because you're going to have to kind of restake yourself in
Mhm.
this environment. But you know, according to, well, you're also a Virgo, so you plan the hell out of everything. So I have no doubts about that.
Mhm.
But this is definitely saying that you need to wait till like around February, March, because too many things are in flux and they will be different after that, which kind of makes sense when you think about a lot of things in our society and our culture and our governance.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, that things are going to change to give you a much more stable option and probably save a buck too, because housing prices are crazy right now
Mhm.
and they are going to go down. So
Mhm.
thank you for that. And
Thank
you
you,
know what
Anthony.
to do. So
Mhm.
you would probably need to do something for patience, and that would be probably best on a Wednesday because it has to do with the thought process and everything
Mhm.
else. So
Mhm.
chill yourself out
Mhm.
and do something in the West because it brings things to the unconscious because you will just harp on it. I know
Mhm.
you, and I know what we're up for. So that's cool. That's very interesting.
Any
And
deity that I need to invoke?
well, you know enough about them. You can do it without a deity. I don't like a god or a goddess looking over my shoulder. I get shady as fuck, and I really don't want to be judged. So you can either do it with your own intention
Mhm.
or bring somebody else into it if you want to.
Mhm.
But knowing your history and knowing what you work well with, I would definitely say that Dantor is like your
No,
go-to. She's like your right. She's your ride or
she's
die
my
hoe.
mommy.
Yep. So keep that in mind. I
Mhm.
love you. Thank you for
Love
asking.
you.
And I am going to Keisha to see what she wants, and then Scott, and then Jacqueline. So my mouse is no longer a magic mouse. Okay. Uh, Miss Keisha, what are we looking into?
So as you know, I'm starting my new business. It has
Hmm.
started. And I want the intention of being able to actually receive the abundance
Hmm.
and fully instead of resisting it as I have in the past.
Okay. So you used um, three different things here. Business.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, you need attention for that business. Is that what you were saying? Am I hearing you right?
Well,
And okay,
like the intention of being able to receive the abundance instead
okay.
of, you
So
know,
business is Wednesday, abundance is
mhm.
Thursday, and then the last thing you mentioned.
I think that was it. I mean, like just to not get my own way.
Okay.
That might be the best way to
So
put
then that
it.
would be a mental thing too, or it could also be, so no, that would be Monday. That would be the unconscious mind. So training the unconscious mind not to screw yourself up. Uh, so what is the first thing you need to do? The first thing you need to do is get yourself into a conscious state of confidence. So I would
Hmm.
do three. I would
Okay.
do one on a Monday to work with your unconscious to get that all balanced, to get you confident and ready to go. And then the next thing I would do would be on Wednesday, because that's your business. It's a new business. Um, and let's not forget that the element of air, and in the east, that is also celebrated on Wednesday, has to do with new beginnings, breath of life into something. And I think prosperity will follow. So I don't even know if you have to do with Thursday. But let me just shuffle these up a little bit and see what I get out of there. So I mean, I did that just to show you how to go through the process of, the critical thinking process of how to determine your trajectory. So you can't have the second two without the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing I would work with, because it would also give you the confidence and the focus. And focus is mental. That's Wednesday. Talking about Monday, Wednesday. Wednesday also has to do with business, but Thursday has to do with prosperity and growth.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think if you work with the first two, the prosperity and growth is sure to follow. It can't not follow. But you can always do like a little blessing on a Thursday after that too, to celebrate.
Oh,
Or
that's
Sunday.
great.
Sunday is good because it will bring a lot of attention to it. So you would have to think about that. So the first thing you're going to do is confidence, and that confidence also helps the thought process. But when you do your Wednesday candle, throw in the mental part about coming up with the right steps in the right order, because Wednesday rules the mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so all right. Well, first of all, according to this, your business is already in motion. Things are already happening, and you're thinking way too much about it. So do something to cool your mind for that part of it. Okay,
Okay.
because you're really overthinking of it. It's saying that this is already valuable and in motion, but as you said, you can be your worst enemy, because I have the card that has to do with all that. So why are we talking about that? It's saying just learn how to sit neutral and stop judging it. Stop judging yourself. Stop predicting what you think might happen and getting yourself all worked up, Miss Keisha. And I'm laughing because I have the same trait. It says you're going to have to perceive it as something that, half good, half bad. Don't worry about don't worry about the things that you're worrying about. It's going to prove itself in the end. And also take a rest from all that balancing, all that judging. Is it good? Is it not good? Is it good? I will go away if I were your business. I would just take off until you. And then once you do that, once you chill yourself out, you're going to feel this big push, this big gust of wind at your back. You have an ace of swords coming to you, and aces are always benefic, and swords are about vitality and energy and life spark. So you're going to feel all that stuff happening, and then you're going to be able to recover everything you think you thought you lost while you were driving yourself bananas, going back and forth with this. And then word is just going to spread. You are going to be, usually the Ace of Wands means unexpected information coming to you, but in this context and in this reading, this means that your business is going to broadcast itself. So the main thing to work on is your confidence and the part of you that has you doubting yourself. That's also a lot of shadow work and psychotherapy where the part of you that's saying, you suck, you're going to fail. We all have that. But for some reason around business, it seems to, because you're like one of the most fearless, capable people I know. But
Oh,
I get it, because this is also like, this is your creation. This makes you so vulnerable.
yeah.
So really work on that first. Just
Yeah.
stop overthinking, just realize too late, it's already up and running. You
It's
know,
true.
yep, can't hide now.
I have a
So
bank thing and everything. It's
yeah. It's like every week I have such stage fright, but once that green light goes on and I know that I'm live, it's either look like a deer in the headlights or go balls to the wall. And it's like, all right, here they come. And then just do it. It's already too late. It's already in motion. Um, you know what you've been able to create in your life. And this is no different than that. It's just a little bit too close to your heart. So you
yeah.
feel very vulnerable. So whatever you can do to get through that vulnerability is going to make that happen. And then it's going to take care of itself. So I was right. The Thursday candle is sort of unnecessary, but it ain't overkill. So always do it, because your business is going to promote itself.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So
definitely doing Thursday and Sunday. Sounds like Sundays
yeah, you
also.
can do one every day if you want to, but I mean, I'm telling you, those are the obstacles in the order of the way they affect you. And it's mostly jitters. This is something new, and it's like flying without a net.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've had side hustles before. When was the first time you were completely self-employed?
Never.
All right. Do you understand why you're jittery?
I mean, I was an attorney. I was
Yeah.
very rule book, and this
Mhm.
is the opposite.
Yeah. Well,
So
now you have carte blanche to do whatever you want.
thank God.
And Jacqueline Christina says, congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Jacqueline.
Okay. And thank you. Now I got to get to Scott, my Velociraptor sidekick. You there? Yes, you are.
All right, I'm here
Okay. So cool. What are you thinking about candles for?
for everyone to see our light, Astro Underground.
Okay. So it's a similar question. Yeah. And you got a candle already. Look, check you out. Hold
Yes,
that up. You're gonna carve that bitch up tonight, aren't you?
yes,
Yeah.
baby. You know it. You know how we do.
I know. This is Scott and I have just recently begun working together, and it's really scary. Did everybody here see Jurassic Park? Do you remember the raptors? How they like hunted in packs and pairs? And that's how we go. That's how we accomplish things. One distracts, the
It's
other pounces.
it's great.
Whether it's a business plan or the
Checking
construction
out
guys from
guys,
the museum on
yeah,
lunch hour.
exactly. We seem to always know when to go out for that little
Yep.
air break.
But also we think so much alike, and there's something about synergy because the energy in that place just changed big time. Because when there's
100.
a lot of positive energy sort of milling around and building momentum, all the bad stuff gets pushed out. And since that happened, we're up and running without even, I mean, we have appointments booked and the space isn't even ready yet. I just got a
Crazy,
second tarot appointment for Wednesday, Scott. I don't know if you know that. And you
crazy.
had one and you got a Reiki coming in, and it's like, what the hell's going on around here?
Blessings, blessings.
I know. So now I have to find, I think I know, I have to buy us a little charm, little
Yeah,
sterling silver velociraptor.
I love it.
Put it on a mala
Exactly,
instead of the Buddha bead.
exactly. That would be amazing.
Yeah. We could
It's
even come out
done.
with a line of them.
Exactly. I think it would be amazing.
You guys, you got to see the products we're making. And we're going to have our own custom line of a lot of different things. There's a lot of very talented people that work in that business. So our inventory is going to be like off the hook, man.
Crazy.
Okay.
Did you want to pull cards? I don't know.
I'm doing
I
that.
don't think we should.
You didn't hear me shuffling?
I did.
Okay. Did you just ask me about something about cards, or was I mishearing you?
No, no. I just said, we
All
don't
right.
need the cards. We could just spread the
Well, we
light.
kind of do because this is telling me that you have had this kind of success in the past, but there were things that you learned from it. It says, remember the things that got in your way, and it's just about a new approach. I'm hearing the word a little bit slower, and we're both the same. We're very anxious to get this out there, but we got to do it solid. It doesn't mean we have to go slow. It means we have to just like maybe 5 miles over the speed limit instead of 30. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it really has to be a solid foundation because things are going to happen very quickly. Then it says move forward confidently, keep your feet on the ground, and don't allow yourself to be deterred. Do not let yourself get pushed back, pushed down, or deterred in any way. You're going to find that if you really approach this with an open heart and a pure intention, as you have been, that's what's impressed me about you. Um, that on an emotional level, it's going to be very well balanced. It's not going to be nerve-wracking, anything like that. You are going to know instinctively what and whom you need to walk away from. And you have such a nurturing aspect to your clinical work that you want to heal everybody, but there are people that are there just to suck the life out of you. So you're going to be able to identify them immediately. You're going to be kind, but not too kind for too long and have it deplete you. And this is another thing about you, and this is something good for anybody who's in business. You're not going to get cocky. You're not going to get arrogant. There might be one or two things that do need to be taken care of, but you're always going to be looking, did I cover every base? But you're not going to be driving yourself crazy with it, but it's good. Otherwise, that's when things slip through the cracks and that's when things don't go your way. So pretty much all full speed ahead.
Blessings.
Remember, particularly where dealing with staff is concerned, what you've learned from that in previous experiences in other businesses, whether you were in management or ownership. You tend
Ownership.
to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and you're finding out that some people are just nefarious, and they're putting on a sweet front, but they have an ulterior motive. So just remember those things and slow yourself down. And don't budge. Once you're feeling that confidence, do not budge. Do not let yourself be swayed. There are times you're going to have to fight for what you want. And your fellow Raptor will back you up, as I'm sure you will do me when we have to. But we do have to plan this carefully and do it for the right reasons. And I'm not saying for the highest good. It's not about, giving services away because they're metaphysical, we have to support ourselves, but we also have to make sure that we maintain integrity in every way. And I'm perfectly comfortable working with you in that capacity. And I think you are, as we're getting to know each other better.
Totally.
Yeah.
I told you I've known you in my past lives. We've always been connected.
It's like I've never not known you. So that's good. And I feel that way about a few people here. Okay. Anybody?
What day do I light the candle?
Let's see. I would do see, the first line really had to do with you remembering, so that's mental, because it wasn't about uncovering anything. So that's not about Monday. So far, Wednesday's prominent. Wednesday's also about business. Wednesday and or Thursday.
Okay.
So you could light it, depending on how long it's going to burn.
Not long.
Light it on Thursday night. Oh, that's a quick one. So you want to do two of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So do one on Wednesday, one on Thursday with those intentions. You're just seeing everything running the way it should. Excellent. So
and everyone's seeing the light. Bless.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
All right. Are you going to be working tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
Good. I'll see you then, because I'm coming in after New Jersey. All right. Bye. Jacqueline, Christina, bring me the axe. Where'd you go? Hey, what's up? Tina, bring me the axe. I love that film.
I love that. I can't wait for you guys to open up Astro West downstairs.
Me neither.
Nobody and to start the classes
more than us.
Seriously, it's like back to school.
Everybody was blaming it on a Mercury retrograde, which is bullshit. It was because the ships were in the harbor for 90 days. Okay? Because our Department of Commerce was fucking around. Yeah. So everybody's deliveries got held up. Now they're in, and we're good. And I'm constructing things and erecting things. And Angela's helping. Angela showed up with a saw and a drill and put slat wall up on a wall like nobody's business. She was awesome. So what kind of candle? Angela said she's going to burn a Harley Quinn candle. That's a private joke between Ange and I. I was likened to Harley Quinn from the Suicide Club by one of my more skittish side pieces. Anyway, your question about your candle.
So, I'm impatient in nature. The job that I want. I relate to Sarah so well.
Well, you're both Virgos.
Yeah. So that job that I want, it's just slow. So I'm feeling impatient. So
you're talking about the long game or the
long game, the long game, the events thing. Oh, not that long game, not the doula.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah,
the
you were told that somebody was going to get back to you in a month, and I think that was a week ago.
Yeah.
So, yes, instant coffee all over the joint tonight.
Exactly.
Everybody wants it yesterday.
When I heard Sarah talking, I'm like, maybe I should just put down my hand. There's a lot of us tonight.
Any other Virgos here? Raise your hand. Oh my God, I'm like so fucked. They're all over the place.
How many are there? I can't see on my side.
Dana, Dana is.
But yes, August 31st.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. That's good to know. I'll send you a stripper.
actually, when you said I'm September 6th on Labor Day, and when you said mothers and conceiving on Monday, I'm like, well, I really fucked my mother on a Monday. I came in.
Right. So this is the events thing. Okay. And as far as YouTube replays, I don't know when it'll be up there. Last week it took about 3 or 4 days because the person who does it is not here and they have shitty internet. And I will be in touch with him. And then you subscribe to the channel, Esoteric New York TV on YouTube, and you'll be notified when the new one is released. It says right now it's actually being deliberated. There's a lot of planning
Hmm.
going on around this thing. So it's already in the dark. And they're actually coming with prioritization, and they want to get it up and running right away. So that would mean there's nothing you can do now until you hear more, but you're impassioned about it. Do not let you, it's saying again, slow down. Do not let your passion about
Hmm.
this shoot yourself in the foot. Try to remain neutral until more occurs. You will be able to move at a moment's notice. You're not going to have to give anything up. You're going to hear out of nowhere, and it's going to happen. And it's actually going to happen because it needs to happen for you, according to the last two cards here, which means that it's definitely a sure thing. But there are so many things in the timing. It isn't like applying for a job that's already been put out there, posted, and then waiting to hear back. These people already, as far as I can tell, you've already got it. But what they're doing is they're reorganizing the way that whole part of that organization is structured. Um, you're definitely fitting into it. So it looks like patience is key. Um, that would definitely, I would work on Mondays. Because
Mondays?
yeah, because that is the unconscious, and that's when you're feeling all of this. I need to know now. I need to know now. I need to know now. It's more of an emotional response um, than a cerebral one.
Oh,
So based pretty much, this is a big step, and it's going to happen. And the only thing that can screw it up is you driving yourself bananas from being impatient. So work with your
okay.
unconscious. Put something on that candle to quiet the unconscious down. You know where those voice. I'm hearing this, and even though I know it because of our other work together, it's saying you know where those voices are coming to. You know who those voices belong to, that are making you feel that you need to hear something right away. Because what's happening is you're just on the verge of possibly convincing yourself that it's not going to work. And if you do that, that'll happen. So it's really about restraint. That's all
Okay.
emotional. Work on Monday. Put some Saturday energy into it because Saturn is about discipline. So you can light a candle with an emotional intention on a Saturday, which is bringing emotion into the discipline, or something about discipline on a Monday because it's all happening under the surface. And that's what's making you that impatient about it. But there's no question as to whether you're going to be awarded this or not. It's a done deal. It's already in motion. You have a night, and that means it's
Wow.
already happening.
Is there
The
a color
drama,
candle? Oh, the
yeah, but I'm
drama?
not saying it for free. You got to have to take the class.
Oh, I can't wait for the class and the sigil class. I read something about that this weekend.
Yeah. There's also
Um,
herbs involved. There's oils involved. Um, if you want to do something to calm yourself down, get cucumber oil.
CBD, but yes, cucumber oil.
Yeah. Well, yes, a little bit of THC will help too. Uh,
Cucumber
but
oil.
that
So that's
cucumber, or
interesting.
keep a cucumber near you, because cucumber oil, if it's massaged into you, it is a central nervous system depressant. It will
Hmm.
chill you out. Anything with the element of water, lemon, you can use lemon oil, cucumber oil,
So I have cucumbers in
narcissus.
my yard. Oh,
Oh,
narcissus.
good.
I was going to say, I actually have
Yeah.
cucumbers in the yard and I have lemon essential
So
oil.
put a cucumber near it as an offering while the candle's burning, and then when it goes out, consume the cucumber. Treat it like puja in the Hindu religion,
I
where the
love
energy
that.
goes into the food, and when you consume the food, you actually consume the energy. And actually invite a friend over for a salad, especially a friend who's getting on your last nerve, because it'll chill them out too. And whoever you share your puja with, it comes back to you 10 times.
Yeah, I
So you
know
might as
who.
well get it
I
all
know.
happening.
No, I like this. This is a
Yeah.
perfect plan.
Yeah, I think it's very cool.
Perfect.
Very cool.
Gosh.
Well, anybody else? Because we're at an hour and a half. I don't mind wrapping now. I thought this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
This is awesome. Thank you,
And
Anthony.
thank you. So next week, we may do sigils. We may not do so. We may do something else next week. On the 16th, though, and this is getting you ready for 2 weeks from now, I have another medium from my class coming on. Her name is Mayumi Corelli. She's one of the most delightful people. If you loved Burnout, you're going to love Mayumi. She's in the middle of moving right now with her husband, and this is why she and I connect. In the middle of moving, in the middle of moving from their old house to the new house that they bought, they decided that it was too much work, so they flew from the West Coast to Cape Cod for a couple of days to catch their breath. And I'm like, yes, okay, we do understand each other, but she's good. And I also have word out there where I may have another person. I mean, I'm going to be asking people from my class to join us almost every week. And when people work up the nerve to do a demo, they will do it. But that's what I have going on in 2 weeks is Mayumi Corelli. And next week we will see, because I didn't know last week, and this week turned out to be a lot of fun. So thank you guys. Blessings to all of you. I will see you all sooner than you want me to. And be well. So bye.